I'm Lisa Gabriele, and I want to talk about sex. Are we having enough? Are we having enough? I mean, that's a big loaded question. It always depends on who you're asking. I don't know a couple who each is getting exactly what they want sexually. There's always one partner that wants more than the other partner is able to provide or willing to provide or wants to provide. So I don't know, are we having enough sex? And it's subjective too. It's completely subjective. One person's 8 times a year is a desert to a person that has it 8 times a week or more. So I don't know about that. I think that one of the things I read recently was that Canadians last longer, which again has something to do, I think, with the cold, maybe. But and I remember being asked a long time ago about quickies versus having hours and hours of sex. Like tantric sex to me is more of a concern than the amount of time we have sex, because I think tantric sex, the idea of having sex for hours, is a nightmare. There's so much to do, and that's never interested me. I have to say, I don't like necessarily talking about my own sex life, but every time people bring that up, like, yeah, would you like that? I'd be like, no, I have a house to clean, I have errands to do. So it's not about how often, how long I have sex, but I think it's really, you want that lovely combination of I'm having enough sex and I'm having it the way I want and as often as for the length of time that I want. So it's not just about numbers. It's also about the act itself. Is it flourishing within its brackets? Are Canadians prudish? Absolutely not. It's one of those things that I think, because of our sort of taciturn reputation, that it seems to get translated into this sort of prudishness, which I don't think Canadians do to themselves. I think that might be something that other people have a perception about. But frankly, I think because Canadians are so tolerant and so open-minded, we're quite the opposite. And just, I think, because we are situated in North America, I think we get swallowed up by this notion of America, which is so big and brash, but yet I think that compared to us is so prudish and so close-minded and so divided in a lot of ways. And their take on sex has a kind of titillating, garish quality to it. And I think Canadians have a far, I hate the word classy, but we're classier. But we are classier around sex. We don't talk about it as much as we do it. We have all of these unspoken, what do I call them, sort of unspoken institutions that support our sexiness. Even, national health care in some ways, having access to birth control, having the ability to talk about that, having this incredibly sexy landscape as well. Pierre Trudeau's quote about the state having no business in the bedroom is kind of what sums up my theory about Canadians being so much sexier in some ways. Because if you look at our neighbors to the south, they like nothing more than inserting themselves, forgive the term, into everyone's sex business, whether it be to deny people the right to get married, to outlaw certain sexual acts, to prevent young women from having the information they need to stop unwanted pregnancies, even though they want to have sex. I mean, the state and sex get wrapped up in the same sort of ball of horrible wax down there. And so it infuriates me, because it actually takes all of the joy, all of the risk out of sex. And I think with I go back to this notion of, we have this national health care, we have, this Frenchness about us. We take some of the risks away from the idea of having sex. And then the rest is a free-for-all. All of this contributes to my firm belief that Canadians are far from prudish. And anyone that thinks that just hasn't slept with one of us, I don't think. That's kind of my opinion.